So, welcome back for another episode. First of all, let's have a quick look at our situation. Not much has happened between the end of the last episode and start of this. I've done a few things in maintenance stuff, and I did add in the income that we got our trade agreements from, and we now have a positive treasury for a little while at least. I mean, we should be, we'll be losing that probably in a few months' time, but anyway, until then, it should be alright. And that means that our manufacturing is currently working on full speed again, which is very good for us. Now, we have set up all the governors and such now, at least for the planets and all the admin commands, so trading fleets should actually get some bonuses from trading now. Of course, we were going to send in the response fleet once they've done with the overhaul back to Copenhagen to destroy the coastal defenses, which should be doable. Should be. And we're currently bringing in all the survey fleets back down to overhauls in wherever they can be overhauled, or wherever is the closest one. Nothing new on the diplomatic front for us right now. And in terms of colonies, we do actually have set up a colony in Lacative Sea A1, if we have a look at that. So that one, it does have a little bit of resources, nothing huge to be fair. Well, actually, the numbers aren't that bad. The accessibilities are not tremendous, it's only 1.8 total, but there is a lot of resources in there, and it does provide some minerals that we barely produce over here. For example, wood, or geranium, and then brass, and then of course more gunpowder, more food, and sails and rigging. So it should complement the existing colony there quite nicely. But anyway, I think that's about it for this, so I'll bring you back in just a little bit. Two of our new third rates have been finished in Philadelphia, and we laid down next to the shipyards, as well as one fourth rate, which should hopefully make sure that our interests in America are guaranteed. We have completed two new second rates in London, and we started building one more there. Of course, due to the increased ship production, our money is running a bit short right now. So we'll probably be putting off building too many ships for the time being. But hopefully later on we should be building more. We have now upgraded our naval headquarters in London, which boosts our effective range of operations by a fair bit, meaning that the bonuses from our naval or admin command or the naval admin commands, I suppose is one way to put it, will actually reach to our holdings also in America. Not to the Indian Ocean, other than the survey will reach there just barely to the West Indian Ocean. But that should help a fair bit for our ships actually, because all the bonuses will then be applied to all of our navies within the reach of our headquarters. And then we've also started building some financial centers in there instead now, which is going to take a while before they finish, but it should increase our income at least a little bit, which of course is going to be a good thing, because we are running quite a deficit, and we've already basically run out of any money that we had at the start of the year. But if we have a look at actually the weapon trade real quick. Okay, yeah, we are using a lot of money right now. A lot of it is going to the maintenance supplies, to be fair. A fair bit to the shipbuilding, shipyard modifications, and research, of course. We have completed another first rate in London. We will probably hold off from building new ships for the time being in here. I mean, we're still building another second rate, which is going to take a while to be completed. But considering the deficit, just for 1 month, lost about 3,000 there, so yeah, we will probably slow down our expenditures a little bit and just let the economy start recovering a little bit. The response fleet has now completed their overhaul, and they will set sail towards Baltic Sea and Copenhagen, and this time we will destroy the coastal defenses there. We have managed to complete a naval headquarters in Philadelphia, so we can now start setting up commands in there as well. In addition, we have started building more financial centers. We managed to complete research on bigger caliber cannons. Of course, we do need to design the actual cannons yet, but we do hope to actually improve the reload speed before we do that. In the meanwhile, we'll be researching a bit more on optics, and hopefully we'll be able to spot some enemy ships from further away. Our response fleet has now arrived in Copenhagen and is about to open fire on the fortifications. Our first barrage seems to have destroyed 2 of their batteries. Another few batteries have been destroyed on the enemy fortifications. Half of the enemy fortifications are in ruins, but they're still firing. The guns have gone silent. Our job here is done now, so we shall return home. Majority of our ships took severe damage in this fight, so they'll have to undergo some repairs in London. France has implemented a blockade of the cities on the western shores of Italy. We have spotted both French and Spanish ships heading towards Port Royal, and by the looks of it they are warships, and I don't think they're coming for a friendly visit. Unfortunately, we don't know how many of them are on their way right now. What we do know is that our fleet over here is not very large. I mean, there is a first rate, or like ships of the line, there are 9 altogether, which could be worse. And then we got a fair bit of frigates, and then some smaller ships, but I'm not sure how many enemies there are, so it might not be enough. We can now see the approaching fleet more clearly, and it looks like dozens of ships. I think this is a call for war from both Spanish and the French. Now, we do have a decent fortifications in here, which should have the upper hand in terms of range. And potentially also in damage, but our fleet is definitely not strong enough to handle that fleet. But we do need to figure out what to do with our other fleets. The response fleet that was in Baltic is going through the final repairs in London, so we could be using that fleet, straining it a little bit from the home fleet as well, and that should be able to at least do some harm on the European front. Now, we do also have a decent bit of fleet in American East Coast, but they are a bit too far away to help on this battle here, so we just need to hope for the best. After discussing plans with our superiors, we have decided to pull back the fleets, well, other than the 2 survey vessels, which unfortunately are undergoing overhaul and cannot be pulled out quite that quickly, but the fleets in Port Royal will try to sail south before the enemy fleets spot them and go to Krakow in here, after which they'll regroup and go towards Philadelphia. The enemy ships are now almost within reach of our cannons. As soon as they get within reach, we shall open fire upon them. We managed to land some hits on one of the enemy ships. Unfortunately, the first enemy barrage destroyed 1/3 of our 8-pounders. We have now lost nearly half of our 8-pounders, as well as some of our 6-pounders. So, we've sent one of the enemy ships. Unfortunately, we've taken rather heavy damage. After a few minutes of tremendous barrage, our fort has now fallen. Luckily, our fleet did manage to escape. After destroying our coastal fortifications and our shipyards in Port Royal, the enemy seems to be heading off again, but they did have a rather successful raid. Now, we could technically try to intercept 1 or 2 of these fleets. Let's have a look at the numbers. The Spanish fleet seems to be a little bit weaker compared to the French. On the other hand, catching up with that might prove to be too difficult, at least with our heavier ships, so we'd have to use only our lighter ships, and that would make it a bit too risky. So what we'll do is we'll head with the Caribbean fleets back to Krakow, because we know that our allies have fleets there, and there's safety in numbers right now. Now let's have a quick look. Can we build more units in Port Royal? Yes, we can. We will immediately start building a coastal fortification. Now, unfortunately, it's going to take a while before it's completed. We have called in Netherlands and Portugal to join us in the war against the French and Spanish. Hopefully this will tip the scales in our favour. Once our response fleet is ready, we will send some ships to raid the French coast. our Caribbean battleships have now arrived in Curacao to join our forces with the Dutch fleet there. We have managed to research better sails, so we have now started designing better masts for our ships as well as the gunpowder storages, and hopefully with these our ships will be notably better in combat. In addition, our response fleet is now ready to set sail into Bay of Biscay. I completed the research on high accuracy moving targets, and now we have designed or started designing new fire controls. Once we complete those, as well as the new masts and gunpowder storages, as well as the better or thicker armor that we are currently researching in Philadelphia, we should be able to redesign a lot of our ships to be much more efficient than they currently are. We have finished building a research lab in Port Royal, and we started now expanding our fuel refineries there. Unfortunately, we are having a bit of a problem since we don't actually produce any stone or iron in Port Royal, which means that we can't really expand our resource harvesting here, nor can we build or rebuild our shipyards right now. And at the same time, because we don't have the iron, we can't actually build our coastal fortifications again. Our fleet at Bay of Biscay has spotted a French commercial vessel. It's time for some easy pickings. There we go, we sunk the bastard. And there we have it, that's the year. So let's have a quick look at what's going on right now in our nation. So first of all, we're still building a fair few ships in London and Philadelphia. Of course, we can't build any in Port Royal right now because we don't have shipyards there anymore, thanks to the French and Spanish. And in terms of researchers, we are currently researching thermal sensor sensitivity in Port Royal, and in Philadelphia we're researching the high-density uranium armor. And then in London we're getting the maintenance support facility, then we're getting the mast and capacity recharge rate, which should be done, well, it's going to be done eventually, but not necessarily very quickly. Although we might be able to actually switch around some of these. Well, anyway, we'll speed that up as soon as we can. And once we get all of these, we can then essentially redesign our ships to be a lot better, especially once we get the armor upgrade as well. That's gonna give us a lot more tonnage to work with for the actual interior of the ship. Then, in terms of building, there's nothing too... I mean, it's mostly the basic stuff that we're building. We're building a naval headquarters in Madras, but that's about it. Other than that, we're building just the regular stuff like construction factories and mines and financial centers, some fuel harvesters. In terms of fleet movements, we've been gathering up most of our fleets in Philadelphia, and we already have a rather large fleet in there. Also, the fleet from Labrador Sea is already there, and some ships from Hudson Bay are also heading to Philadelphia. We still have our Caribbean fleet at Curacao. We'll probably start doing some joint operation with the Dutch in there next year. Well, at least that's what I hope. Then our raiding fleet at Bay of Biscay, it's actually... apparently they didn't repair everything beforehand, so we're sending them back to London to be repaired. And we're taking a bit of a detour just in case that the French try to intercept us. We don't know if they're trying to. I'm not sure if they even know that we were responsible for the sinking of the colony ship. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, in east and south there's not much going on right now. Although we have actually managed to survey all of Lackative Sea now, which is rather useful. And American East Coast apparently as well. And then a lot of the surveys have been mostly completed in the areas that we are currently in. There's still a little bit to be done, but this war is a bit of a distraction right now from all the surveying and such. Now, unfortunately, we haven't actually started any new colonies yet. We have gotten a civilian mining... Actually, that civilian mining colony was already there last year. We have kind of claimed ourselves a colony in Lackative Sea, but unfortunately we don't have any colony ships there right now, so we can't actually do much about it. But it does have... it is very much a habitable place, and it has some minerals. It has a fair bit of brass. some sail and rigging and wood, and food, and gunpowder. So it would be a nice complement to Madras, which doesn't produce any brass, and very little sail and rigging, and food it produces a fair bit, and not much wood either, so it would definitely help a little bit over there to get some of the minerals or resources that we don't actually harvest there. In terms of wealth, we did about 18,000 deficit this year, and thanks to the... well, actually no, we didn't lose any trade deals, we actually gained a trade deal with the pirates, so we might be able to get majority of this under control again, because we have quite a few trade deals going on, which is going to give us the benefit for the next year, so that we can actually build on full speed, because currently we are building at 68%, which is not great. In terms of mining though, we are getting a decent bit of all of the resources. The lowest one again is food, but that is to be expected, although it's only, well, it's a little bit smaller than stone in terms of production, but not a huge amount, and that's mostly because we are using a lot of the food to make ourselves some rations for our ships. In terms of shipping lines, we have technically 2 now. One of them doesn't have any ships, and the other one is still 2 colony ships and 1 freighter, which I believe was the same at the start of the year. But I do believe that's about it for this recap. So don't forget to check out Midge's channel, link is down below in the description, and we'll be seeing you next week.